An interesting puzzle platformer with a solid aesthetic and premise, let's look into the Pedestrian and see if you're willing to take the first step. This is another title that kinda snuck back up on me. I'd played a short demo of this game in its early stages and was absolutely charmed by it, but I completely forgot it existed by the time it showed up a few months back as a fully fledged game. It's not that it wasn't a memorable game or anything, but we got a lot of shit going on. Still, I made sure to dive on the title once the videos sprang up of playthroughs, as I didn't want to spoil any of the puzzles. Rest assured, I'm not going to outright explain any solutions, but since I'm using game footage in the background, I'm pretty sure you'll see some of them solved, so if you want to play this for yourself, drop what you're doing and play it if you're already intrigued. Need more convincing? Let's move on then. Graphically, we have a bit of an interesting dichotomy. What you're playing and controlling are the simple shapes that make up the male and female signs on what you would see on a bathroom sign or road sign. As this character, you travel from sign to sign to traverse the world, each sign made up of similarly simple graphics. It's everywhere the signs are attached to where the game's graphics turn to the realistic, seamlessly traveling between areas as you arrive to a new set of signs and a new puzzle. Since your character exists within the world of street signs, the game is almost completely void of all sound effects. Well, at least for what your character is doing. Cars driving by, wind gusts, doors opening, all of that makes proper sounds as you pass near them. Music-wise, the game goes for some simple, atmospheric, and relaxed piano pieces that fit the calm nature of the game. Of course, if you just noticed that my music went completely silent a bit ago and you think I forgot to put in a new track, you now know how awkward it is when this exact same thing happens in the game way more often than it should. Expect very, very eerie silences from time to time if you're not providing your own lo-fi hip-hop beats to warp through signs to. So what exactly do you do in this game? Well, few things. You have a basic platformer control of left and right to walk. You can jump, climb ladders, drag or pick up certain objects, and activate switches. In that, the Pedestrian doesn't offer more than the aesthetic change for most basic of puzzle platforming. But of course, no one would really be talking about the game if it wasn't for these various twists. The first and most basic you're introduced to is sign linking. When you end up with multiple signs with multiple doors and ladders, it's not immediately obvious how you're supposed to reach your exit. By linking parts of one sign to another sign, you can create a link so that you can travel between them. Doors can only link to doors, and ladders can only link to ladders. Signs have to be arranged so that the lines are not angled too sharply. Within all that, you can create any number of mind-bending paths to reach the goal, as long as you don't remove or rearrange the link after you've passed through one. This is the core setup of the puzzles, as precision platforming barely makes an appearance outside of occasionally tricky timing. The basic element of the puzzle design goes more and more complex as new features are added, like holes in the signs to let you travel between them instantly, electrical connections to power elements both within the sign and outside of the sign, and even paint to coat certain signs and allow you to make an exception to the sign linking rules. Even with all these systems in play, the game never becomes overwhelmingly complex, though it may feel that way upon first glance of a new puzzle. It makes things fresh in each section, but should never really be beyond your abilities. Think something well in between the puzzle difficulty levels of previous SpeedPass's Ministry of Broadcast and Baba Is You. All the while, unless you're just sold on the vibe, you might be wondering exactly what it is that you're supposedly doing, and this is one of those games where the clues are everywhere, but you might not even notice this until the final scene. You might be wondering why you're attaching random doodads to this Game Boy-looking device, but the assembly of such a device leads to a final puzzle that has a massive twist that I would dare not spoil, so feel free to get your mind blown on your own. Although it's sad such a twist in the game only lasts for like 1.5 puzzles. Overall, despite a fairly short gameplay length, the Pedestrian is that perfect blend of simple puzzle design and atmosphere. The puzzles never reach levels of incomprehensible, and every aha moment feels earned, seriously cutting down on the instances of you exclaiming, "How was I supposed to figure that out?" The kind of thing that usually ends up working their way into most puzzle games. I don't believe I've ever had to look up any of the solutions, and everything that I saw felt well within my grasp even when I complained about how complicated it seemed. Even regarding such a short experience and a $20 price tag that might put people off, nothing less than a go recommendation feels right to give this game. If you're interested, by all means give it a run, after you look both ways.